So the last time I made doll shoes, you all seemed to really like it. So this time I thought I might show the process from start to finish, and hopefully my shoemaking skills have improved a little at least. Last time only about 1/3 of the shoes ended up staying together because I pulled them all apart if I didn't like them, but let's hope it goes better this time. Hey, I'm Teeny Tinkers. Welcome to the Teeny Tinkers channel. I make ball jointed doll and craft related content. I am sculpting some shoe bases on my iPad in Nomad Sculpt. This is super handy since I already have the doll's feet in Nomad Sculpt, so I can just sculpt them right to the feet. Shoe bases are pretty easy to make. They're basically made out of cylinders and just kind of shaped to the doll's foot. I like to add an indent on the inside. This way I have somewhere to secure the fabric of the shoe. And for these heels, I'm adding in little slots. That way I can just string through any kind of laces for any kind of sandals I want to make. The thought occurred to me after I made shoes last time and I had to secure sandals to the bottom of the shoe, which is not ideal, but I thought this might be easier and better. I sculpted a couple new shoe bases, of course, but I had some already on the back burner, so I'm going to be using some of those as well. The idea here is to have a variety. I'm making both 1/6 USD size shoes and MSD size shoes. Junie and Penelope and the petite body wear USD size shoes. And I have pitifully few pairs of shoes for them, so that was the main driver in me doing this project. But all of my bases are now ready to go, so I can go ahead and export them and get them over into Chidipox. Let's go ahead and get these on the 3D printer now. So I didn't have any fresh bottles of resin at this point, and that's kind of okay. With shoe bases, I tend to paint them anyways, so I'm really not too concerned about the quality and the color of the resin. This is a really great way to use up something like junk resin. Luckily, I did do one batch with just Elegoo Standard Gray and my junk semi-transparent resin with some random glitter in it. Although it's funny, once you put the gray in there, it basically just overtakes it. I tried for the very last time, I swear, to use this Resin flexible dental resin. I've tried to make dolls with it. I've tried to make a bunch of stuff with it, and it just is not working for me. I just have such a strong dislike for this particular type of resin. I really like Resin in general, but this resin is not it for me. Keep in mind that when it messes up and it misprints, because it probably will, because yeah, it is so gross and hard to clean up. Like it's a job. That is why this is the last time I will be using this resin. I leave these in overnight and I print out a couple different shoe bases. All of the bases are printed in random junk resins as mentioned, and I added them to this cardboard box where I keep all of my shoe bases I've printed out. As you can see, there's even some in here with residue from the shoes I ripped apart that I did not like. I'm going to start off by painting the bases. For some of these, I'm going to use acrylic paints. I like these model craft paints. I got them from Panda Hobby or Sunward Hobbies, I'm not really sure. They rarely require more than 2 coats and are very easy to clean up and have a really nice finish, I think. I need to go back and get more of the white though because I use so much of it. I had a lot of shoe bases to paint because I ended up making way more shoes than I thought I was going to, but to save myself and you some time, I spray painted most of the rest of them. Some of the spray paints are extra glossy, so you might see they'll have a really nice shiny finish. But the painting is done for now, so before we start cutting, gluing, and sewing, let's take a quick break for Doll of the Week. This week's Doll of the Week goes to Instagram user I Can't Afford These TBH, which is freaking hilarious. She actually purchased this at Anime North in person, so I did get to meet her. This was the Franken Saturn I had available. She even posted a super cool unboxing of her Anime North haul with the Teeny Tinkers stuff, and it was even cooler to meet my viewers in person. Thanks so much for sharing and for coming to say hi. Remember, if you're going to share photos of my dolls on Instagram, please tag me. The hashtag is nice, but it doesn't really work. You can also join my Discord, which is linked in my description and from my link tree. Okay, let's get back to the video because it's time to actually make the shoe. This pair of sandals has a sort of candy-inspired strap. For the main foot straps, I've opted to use jewelry wire since it's sturdier and holds its shape better. I thread up some glass seed beads and, in no particular order, until I have enough for one of the shoe straps. Then I use one of my doll's feet as a guide for how I want to thread and secure the straps to the base. Once I get the metal strap secured, I also add a strap made of jewelry elastic and the same beads. This is meant to wrap around the ankle. So make sure you stick around till the end of the video so you can see how they look on an actual doll. Okay, shoe number 2. I'm gonna go ahead and make a tape form so I can make a pattern. I actually ended up using this base pattern for most of the shoes in this video. To make it, I just wrapped the doll's foot in plastic wrap and then covered it in packing or masking tape. I sketch out how I want the shoe to look and then slide the form off the foot and cut out over the lines I've drawn. From here, I can trace it on to make my patterns. This is going to be for a pair of sneakers. I cut it out in this cute checkered fabric and then stitch the pieces together with the lining and top stitch them too. Once the pieces are ready, I cut out some thin cardboard soles . Once the pieces are ready, I cut out a thin cardboard sole and I cut out some pieces of ribbon, which will be used as Velcro straps, and stitch them on. Then I just stitch the fabric parts of the shoe around the cardboard and then add a bit of glue so the stitches stay in place. I don't have any foot forms of the petite body foot, but I need to make some so that my dolls don't have to be so awkward and uncomfortable in these videos. Oh, also, I added these little bat wings. I thought they were super cute and they matched the yellow straps, so yeah. This pair of shoes is definitely following my typical clothing style, though you'll see in a minute I'm really trying to make some that are not necessarily so kidcore. But you know, the heart wants what it wants. Okay, those are done. So let's see about another pair of sandals featuring the ones we painted blue earlier. Like I said, these are going to be super simple and strappy. Because of the slots I sculpted in, all I have to do is decide how I want the ribbon to lay by testing things out on the doll's foot. Then I go ahead and lace it up as desired and add one of the buckles I sculpted. This serves as the closure for the strap, though I am leaving the straps super long so I can wrap them around the leg and tie them in a cute little bow. Outside of making slides, these are the easiest shoes I've ever made. I definitely recommend using bases with slots in them for sandals. And speaking of easy shoes to make, I get compliments on this type of shoe anytime I post photos of my dolls in them. But they're literally just sock boots. If you can make socks, you can probably make these boots. The trick is that you need to double layer your fabric so it's extra thick and a little stiff. But you still want to use something really stretchy, like this knit fabric. You can sew the socks as normal, just doubling up the fabric, or you can sew the tops of the socks together first and then stitch up the sides to hide some of the seams. Then what I like to do is put the socks on the foot form or on my doll and then hot glue the sock to the shoe base while it's still on the doll. The hot glue should not be getting through the fabric if it's the right thickness. Once the glue is cooled, you can slide the sock off and then use super glue to press the sock into the corners of the base, and it's that easy. Okay, let's make something really out of my wheelhouse. Boots. Boots are so hard, guys. Like, I know some people can make them out of leather and they seem to go together pretty easily, maybe. It looks easier, but I think this has a lot to do with the fact that leather kind of helps out in that way. I don't know if it's like because it doesn't fray or whatever. The closest thing I had on hand was pleather, and it is not the same, guys. And also, I didn't have any black, so I'm using red and I'm going to paint it. It's not ideal. If I did this again, I would definitely just go ahead and use the black. I basically had to make my own pattern for this again, and then stitched it all up by hand. And then I did the detail stitch with the machine and then secured it all by hand. It was just way easier to do this way. Once I had everything kind of stuck together, I used a larger darning needle to kind of pop some holes where the laces are going to go. You can also use grommets if you have really tiny ones. I did not, which is why I did it this way. As mentioned, we're going to paint this black, so I go ahead and do that. Now, while that paint is drying, because I do have to do multiple coats if we're going to be super clear about that, I used some yellow ribbon and some black paint marker to basically create a tag. Like, essentially, these are supposed to look like Doc Martens. I really want to do some mini-me type shoots, like me and the doll matching, and I wear my Doc Martens everywhere, so that's kind of the idea. Also sprayed sealant on these after I painted the little yellow stripy things around the edge. Now, it's not great from up close, but I actually think it looks pretty good on a doll. Alright, quick montage of me making other random shoes, which you'll see at the end. Also, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry that my throat sounds so terrible. I lost my voice at Anime North, and it has not come back. Also, speaking of Anime and Dolls North, I was there because, as many of you know, and you may have seen the vlog, but I was there as a guest for Dolls North. And I was tabling as well. And if you didn't know, I do have a stock sale open right now. It actually opened on June 1st, so I really hope that there's stuff left by the time this goes up, if I'm saying it in this video, so yeah. So go check it out if you haven't already. There might still be some cute stuff left. I think I ended up making 10 pairs of shoes in this video, and obviously it's a new day. I'm wearing new clothes. So I had to finish up everything the next day. As I mentioned, I really wanted to make sure I had enough of the 1/6 USD size shoes because my Raven and Edgar samples are supposed to be coming in September, and I want to make sure I have shoes so that I can make some cute looks. Now, I have to say, I had a lot more fun, and I think it was much easier for me to make shoes this go around. Obviously, part of that comes from practice, but I also tried to take my time. That's something I'm trying to do, is just make sure to add small details to all of my clothes and shoes and accessories I make. But with that said, all of my shoes are done, so let's take a look at how they look and fit on my dolls. Alright, I did not have time to style every single doll to match the shoes, so I literally am just showing the feet. I'm sorry, I know it's kind of silly, but now you can kind of see how the shoes fit and how they look. I'm really excited to actually style these shoes with matching outfits. I think it's gonna look so super cool. Let me know which of these shoes is your favorite and if you would like to try making some. If people want, I might start selling the bases again. I used to sell them and then I took them off the website, but if there's demand, I can start making these available as well. But for now, that's it. If you're already subscribed, thanks so much for subscribing. If you're new here and like the content, I hope you stick around and consider subscribing. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye!